こんにちは、近藤です。久しぶりにね配信していきます。配信っていうか今日はねライブっていうかミラーっていうか配信されてたのね、大丈夫かフナティックと G2 の試合ねガヤで見ようと思います。やっと見れると思って。ヨーロッパはね VCT がこの間 VCT っていうのはバロラントの国際大会の予選なんですけど、なんとねフナティックっていう、前回の国際大会で2位やったチーム、世界2位です。世界1位は皆さんご存知センチネルですが、世界2位のフナティックと、G2 って結構有名なチームがね戦うらしいので、ちょっと G2 については私知らないんですが、ミックスウェルというクソ強い人がおるという噂をお聞きしておりますので、ガヤ配信していこうと思います。何か問題があったら消えますので、この動画皆様ご承知の方、ツイッチとかで見れますので、概要欄に貼っておきますので皆さんよろしくお願いします。というわけで観戦していきます。よし、では行きましょう。早速。いやーでも個人的に楽しみやったんでね、この戦いは。早速見ていきたいと思います。ちょっと自分が何喋ってるか分からなくなりそうなんで、ちょっと気持ちを落としてあげさせていただきます。本編出力は全然変わってないんで、よし、行きます。シアターモード。始まるんや。30の辺か。
Competed on the biggest scale when it came to that Masters LAN event.
どこから喋ってんだよ。
This is the true test. This is to see whether or not G2 are going to come in, have that honeymoon period, and be one of the leading teams from the get-go, or are they going to be a little bit off the pace and still have some work to do?
Well, the guys are already on the server. I can see them loading in just over there, so we better jump on in and take a look at what's going down. And as you can see, the agent select is already done. The map is loading up, and the attacking side will be Fnatic to start it out. G2 evidently wanting to start over on the defense. See, the agent select is already done.
G2 がセージ、スカイ、ブリムストーン、バイパー、レイズで、フナティック側が、ボースターがアストラ、マグナムがブリーチか。ブリーチやね。ブリーチ、バイパー、ソーバ、ブリムストーン。あと、デュエリストが誰もいない。
The map is loading up, and the attacking side will be Fnatic to start it out. G2 evidently wanting to start over on the defense.
まあ、ゆっくり見ていきますか。今日は土曜日なんで、終わったし、俺の仕事は今日全部終わった。
I am almost shocked in what we have just witnessed. In fact, in a couple of different ways, because not only, like, what I remember there was a quote from Boaster, wasn't there? That if you're going to run this comp, you have to run it with a raise.
Yeah.
これ勝つとね、最近お金マジきついで、バロラント。一戦目勝てると結構でかいですよね。3戦目で帰るとかザラっすからね。
So there's going to be, if anything, this almost irritates them. They're going to have even more utility. They've got somehow managed to find a comp that has more utility than what they had before.
I can understand the change out of Raze because of Breach's buff. He's in a very strong position right now, but the fact that they've gone for an Astra here as well, that's definitely a completely left field play. Now Magnum right off the bat is holding for the control down middle. G2 push, they gain the control, but they fall on back afterwards, content with what they've spotted. One guy outside of A, and they don't want to overstay their welcome and end up getting crunched in on. This then poses a question for G2. What do? You have 3 players stacked up on A, and your B guys are just sitting ducks. Do they take the control? It looks like they're going down Bath for the ult orb, but that means now the pressure is on for these 2 B holders. They're not going to have support at all. No reinforcements on the way.
It's going to take them a little while at least, and they're going to need the remaining players to try and delay. Look at all the utility just obliterated back of the site. Didn't really stand a chance there. Now it does look like
フナティックが優
maybe the
勢
initial
エルボー
throw
取って
might have gone a little bit astray.
エ
But
ル
it
ボー
doesn't
取れて
really
いな
matter
い
too
が
much
サイトは
on
取
the
っ
side of
て
Fnatic. They've got themselves the site.
みんな
The
CT にい
remaining
ま
four
すエルボー
players
一
are
人もある
completely isolated. You can see a blast
敵の
back
ス
going
カ
in
イ
to try
が
and clear some of the close
プラス
angles, but
おっと
realistically,
CT 側に
getting back
プ
in
レ
on
ッシャー
that
与え
choke
ると
is
思
going
う
to be very difficult.
エルボーからも
Yeah, Boaster up on top is not going to last all too long in this one, and Fnatic, they quickly crumble. G2, all the kills roll in their way. Durka wants to go out of that smoke. They could be defusing, but they're content to just leave it because the snake bite's in play. But now, the 1v1 develops. Durka spotted inside of Hookah. He wants to swing on this. He spotted the player isn't defusing. Now the tap comes in, but Durka's already out wide, taking it 1-0. Fnatic put the first on the board. Oh, even a little bit of disrespect from Durka. They're not holding back.
You know, it's that matchup, isn't it? Like this matchup goes throughout games. Like this isn't just a one-off thing. It's just like, oh yeah, this is a cool thing that's happening in Valorant right now. No, this goes back many a year to this rivalry, both between the organizations and I'm sure the player themselves. And with the amount of, I guess, money that's been spent by G2, this is the team that they're looking to beat. One of them at least. We know FPX always
次は
when it
A 攻め
comes
かな
to Europe at least.
おっとノック
I
中
thought
隠れ
for
て
a
いたが
second he was going to
死
get
亡
away with that one. Doma runs past, but Durka, he's got eyes in the back of his head, Mitch.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a little bit of nasty aim from Doma to shut down the push of the pistols up close. And so far, no losses for Fnatic. Doma, 20 HP, still challenging. There's a weapon dropped. But, of course, when your teammate's got that ghost, he can just upgrade for free. It's not the biggest of deals. We'll see if Kellogg's can get that extra bit of damage and really make it worthwhile in this round. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, already a successful round considering what they brought in. Anything from this point forward would be a huge bonus, but it would have to be a headshot from Kellogg's on 34 HP. He'll be quickly dealt with. And indeed he will.
弓を投げようとしたけどってやつよねカバーが来て
He's someone I'm very excited to see a little bit more from. Because obviously over the last few days, he's been someone that I guess was brought into this roster as a very, very recent impact. Only on the 25th was he actually officially announced, and then it was almost one of those things where we realized that Pith had actually gone. Now I do wonder if that was something to do with that maybe they were practicing a little bit beforehand, and this was almost just like a reveal to the rest of the world. Because I would be more shocked if Mixwell just in this short amount of time had then gone, no, it's fine. I'll just Sentinel now. Like that would be much weirder than this being something preemptive. But the fact that Mixwell has fallen back to that role means that this guy is something special.
おっとモロトフが来て
John, we're going to have to give me a quick second here because a little bit of a tech issue. So you just take over for this one, and hopefully I'll get this resolved.
Okay, all good. 1 minute 20 on the clock. Of course, this is where we start to see some investment. Hello. That is an aggressive push. Already coming in from behind, and they can just lock them in. They know that they're not going towards the B site anymore, and you've got yourself that Sage wall just blocking them in. This gives us a lot more time to try and rotate in on that flank.
もうちょっと我慢したらスカイの裏取りが刺さりま
In fact,
す
if he picks off maybe Boaster, Doma, that's some of the utility gone, especially for those after plants. Even better, I guess, if he takes down Mystic, and then there's no more Viper utility. He can already see some of it being lined up. First kill will go his way. Seekers even pop just to give the rest of his teammates, and he's just taken over this round. Already coming up with 2 kills, a Volver alongside to clean things up, and now Durka, he needs a miracle. But this is exactly what this man can pull out. A 3rd kill already in this round, a rifle to be retrieved, and you know what? He has the spike. He could actually just fall back to the other side of the map.
関係ない話なんですけどダークすごいねマトリックス
Maybe get himself the plant. The rotation pretty quick from Cold Amenta, and the shock dart at least cut them down a little bit more. He's already going to get that 1v1 Cold Amenta, maybe taking a little bit of a risk, but it will eventually be closed out by G2. Far more costly than they probably would have liked, but you know what? They get the job done.
Well, Tom, we're all good to go here on my side at long last. Apologies for that, but thank you for taking us through.
こっからお互いが
At this point,
お互いの
G2 are bouncing in. That's what we want to see when you've got those rifles out. Your opponents play the bonus. It's fair. Now the full buy comes out on both sides. This is where things can get a little bit scary. Also, you notice that we mentioned G2 in the pistol round. They went for that control over bat. They went for the ult orb. Avova at this point just 1 away from claiming the orbital strike. That could be incredibly valuable over on the defender side. We'll see how that one pans out, because coming into this round, I imagine he's going to have it online as, again, they just push down inside bat and get that orb up.
Yeah, obviously that round, it was looking very good for G2, but you have to now consider that they lost quite a few weapons in a round that was still a bonus for Fnatic. So Fnatic will be pretty happy with that in the end. If it had been 4 players alive, maybe not so much, but they get a plant, 3 kills, and force a lot of repurchases, which I think mean there's now a couple of SMGs on G2's side as well. We've already seen a bit of a challenge of some of the utility put down by Mixwell. Not just going to allow him to hold that space for free. And they're going to send in the Hawk as well to try and find out an extra little bit of information, but I don't think they got anything from it.
Right here.
No, it doesn't look like it. There's a gap in that wall, and I thought Coldamenta was about to peek it, but he falls on back, playing with that weaker weapon of the Spectre. Want to be holding the close range angles in through the TP. They go, and Mixwell actually gets caught off guard. The Viper now down, but Coldamenta, quick to pull it back, manages to avoid the aftershock, and now he's just tucked inside. A thorn in the side if you want to move into Hookah. Kellogg's good for 1 to flash out, but Hookah's already been obtained, and he almost gets dropped because of it. Magnum and Mystic make sure it happens in the end. Now the site is theirs. The plant could come in, but the orbital strike still online. Could be massive, and here it comes. All down from the sky as Mystic swings to try and deal with Avova. He can't get it done, and there's barely any time to get a plant. Magnum has to get it quickly, and with that kill taking too long, and indeed not even going his way, the round will fall to G2. A splendid round early on, and with Fnatic losing out on that one, their economy starts to get a little bit rougher.
Yeah, a few key moments in that round. The risk taken by Coldamenta to go straight back through the teleporter to flank them, and then also just the way that 2v2 was played. I feel like Avova, when it comes to controller players, might be one of, if not even the best when it comes to Europe. Like, he's just so unbelievably good with all of his utility, and, well, held it to the perfect moment just to make that so awkward for Fnatic. I think we're all looking at Nuki as that huge addition with how much of a star he's been, but I genuinely think if anybody's going to change everything when it comes to G2, it'll be Avova. He's just the glue that brings his teams together.
Those ults that they wanted to compete for on Avova are now being challenged for. Fnatic realizing their mistakes, that Brimstone had his ult up so early means that you might get a bit of a battle down in bat in those early rounds, but G2 wisely just completely give up that control, and through the smoke, Coldamenta gets dropped. That is some shot by Durka with the spam, but as Doma falls, the numbers are equalized. But look at the ultimates in play. We currently have a Viper's Pit online. Mystic doesn't want to use it right here. Instead, going to play more traditional post plants. They can delay further with the Hunter's Fury as well. So really, really good delays here towards bat. G2 need to take that control, and frankly, just need to hurry up getting in here with the post plant that Fnatic are playing. Time is going to be their biggest enemy, and having already taken down Boaster, they won't expect Magnum to be sat here inside that poison orb and ready to fire away, but he still doesn't get it done. Mystic already burned up his utility, so he goes forward, and here's Durka on the Hunter's Fury, but there's just too many players alive. They're gonna rush him down and take him out. Well handled by G2 from the get-go.
I'll be honest, I was thinking that Fnatic had that round. The way that they set up for all of the after plants, the amount of utility, as you mentioned, the ultimates that they had available to them, but G2 stay calm. They're very collected in just picking off the different players, even having the sort of slight change at the end to make sure that the player couldn't die while defusing the spike. Obviously, if you've dodged 2 of them, you know that the 3rd one's not going to kill a full HP player, and there was no panic there. They knew what they were doing from the get-go, so yeah, superb stuff from them. They get them.
Abo. Kellogg 抜き、おっとミックスエルが1キル4
the
ですと
third round
調子
as
が出ていません
expected,
ね。
but this is where again things will get a little bit tougher because Fnatic now have a bye.
早すぎやろ殺すの
Oh, wow.
Okay.
The bait that comes in there.
今普通に
Putting
走っ
down
て
the
る
recon arrow and swinging with it usually just grants you the control, but the timing was so good that an opening duel now resides with Fnatic, Orbital Strike online, Rolling Thunder, and Viper's Pit. Those are a bunch of very, very powerful ultimates for the attackers to have. But look at this. They're outside the A site. They've given up all control of B as the defenders have. This is a heavy stack from G2 because they want to get that res online. But here's the Orbital Strike. Not actually in on time to get the kill. So they've gotten away with the res, now trading into a 4v4. And somehow Nukia doesn't manage to hit that. It looked like it was dead on to me.
They're going back though. There's no one on the B side, so this is just going to have to be a full retake from G2. The quick rotation available to Fnatic in the scenario is going to set them up almost perfectly, and a lot of the utility has already been used. Now we see the Viper's Pit thrown out, something you mentioned earlier, which is just going to give Mystic these perfect after-plant positions. And I said it yesterday when we were on Ascent, I feel like once his Viper's Pit goes down, it's just so hard to get him out of these positions.
Yeah, controlling the elbow, it's hard for you to even sneak behind him because it's such a choke point of an angle. Durka is even the one holding him close, and having a different player hold it is just so valuable because even if he dies, Viper's Pit doesn't fall down. Doma just closes that out inside of Hook, and Nukia has to save. A 1v3 up against Viper's Pit, up against the utility of shock darts, mollies, and snake bites that's still online. There's literally no way you're winning that without teammates to help you out. And so we will end up 3-3. We will be tied up. And this clash of giants maintains a very solid early foundation for both teams. This is pretty much neck and neck at this stage. I'm loving it.
It's what you want, isn't it? This is exactly what you want from this series. I know that there's a hell of a lot of G2 and Fnatic fans in the chat. I can see it going back and forth like, this team is trash. I hate this team. This is my team. I love this team. But realistically, like, be honest with yourselves. You want this game to go to 3 maps. You want this game to be as close as it can possibly be. Because what are you gonna do afterwards? Like, what are you going to do? You going to watch the other games? I doubt most of you will. I think you're sticking with this one all the way through. So I'm hoping for as close a series as we can get. And you know what? 3-3 does that quite well.
You know what? Just as we're in the lull of it for a moment, we did some predictions before we started the game. I asked you in chat, who will get more kills on map 1? Now, we've had over, 120,000 Michis committed to it, their channel points. And it looks like Durka, 63% of you think that he is going to be the one that top frags over Nukia. Interesting choice, because I'd say it's much more neck and neck. We'll see how that one goes on throughout the game. For now, it's been a push from Fnatic onto the B site, where G2 are just playing that retake.
Set up for this previously. Now this time, okay, maybe they'll have a slightly easier job. There isn't a Viper's Pit available to them, and they're already starting to set up some of that utility. In fact, this time, we've actually witnessed Mystic use some of those snake bites a little bit more aggressively. They're not setting up for the afterplants. They're trying to hold on to the control. The timing couldn't have been better for Nuki, though. He's going to find one on the entry. Kellogg's alongside him, and it puts it into this 2 versus 3 scenario. But they need to find these remaining couple of players. One goes down, but it's only the trades, and another round comes onto the board for Fnatic.
The lead now within Fnatic's control in G2. Let's just check in on that economy. It ain't looking good. No ults to subsidize it either. You know, a showstopper, maybe the likes of an orbital strike can make a difference in these scenarios, but they don't have those. And so instead, they have to rely on the sheriffs. A very light buy. I am surprised, Tom, that we're not seeing the Marshal a little bit more. It makes sense in a way if you think about the context of this map. There's a lot of close range angles that you can fight on, and the sheriff will be able to reach one-shot headshot distance a lot of the time. So sure, it's just going to be a better weapon for the majority of engagements, but positioning one inside of heaven, stuff like that, I thought we'd see at least the one make an appearance.
Maybe they want that extra little bit of cash. We know that some of the utility has changed only slightly. Every little helps. That's what someone says. Can't remember who. Not giving them a shout out. But they need it. It's already going to be easy openers, though. So far, the pistol's not really achieving much whatsoever. Now, there is, again, a flank coming from Kellogg's, who's going to look to try and maybe sneak a kill or two, earn an ult point. We know how quickly you can earn Sky's ultimate. See, this is the thing. I know that Avova lives Valorant. Like, it's just all day. His stream doesn't go down unless he's playing a professional match. I don't know how he manages to keep that level of energy up all day, but it's the Ferrari peaks. You just see it every time he swings. It's a headshot.
You know, one of the things I'll say, actually, on that Sheriff buy is, in general, thinking about the meta and on the economy, you kind of expect to see it a bit. But when you look at the comp that Fnatic are running, Tom, you're up against a Brimstone, a Viper, and an Astra inside a smoke. And we have a defender
a little bit more. I feel like a lot of teams either half of that, but I've seen do it where they're like 6 something down, and you're just thinking, well, you can't win this half anymore. So I like that they've taken it a little bit earlier, given themselves some time to talk. I am questioning why Boaster. Well, what's supposed to buy him? There we go. Okay. He didn't have a gun. I was thinking, is there something a bit spicier coming? But no, it is just going to be the Phantoms across the board, which we sort of mentioned yesterday. I feel like they might have taken a little something back from North America, because I'm not sure that was the norm, at least when we were watching the last VCT.
Yeah, as well with their ability on this map, as we said, for the same reason that the Sheriffs would be preferable over a Marshall, you can see that they can pretty much make every single fight a close range duel. And the Cosmic Divide helps even more so with that. It's going to cut both sides in half, not giving away their intention of which side they want to move towards. And Mixwell, oh, he is in trouble. There goes the snake bite, though. That's going to buy him a lot of time. In fact, it's going to guarantee that they can't push him down, but he can't get out of there either, as he eventually goes to cross, and Doma shuts him out, then waits for the TP and manages to take Kalox down. 4 versus 2 in a matter of seconds. The control has flipped heavily into Fnatic's hands, and they still haven't committed to a site. They have the ability to go back, and in fact, it's going to only be one player defending each of these. G2 very split right now, and Cole Dementa in trouble. Oh my god, that stun right onto him. The flash doesn't catch him. He's reset. Oh, they're not even going to clear him properly, and they almost end up losing more than just one player. Avova snuck onto the site too. They might think he's on A. The flash is there, but they still don't know that he's in position. This could be huge from Avova. The timing seems to have caught them off guard, but there they go. They get the good timing. They spot him on the backside, and now it doesn't seem like he's going to get a lot done.
I need some sort of miracle to bring this one home now, especially with the positioning of the remaining players. You can see a bit of a fallback. He's trying to bait them into peek. You can see Doma, I was going to say jump spotting, but he actually just goes for a full-on peek in the end. Magnum very, very quick to trade. And a 6th onto the board for Fnatic. Of course, I think it's also worth premising this game. Like we haven't really done it so much so far. Of course, we are still within the upper bracket. One of these teams, I believe, just goes straight through to what will be the first challenges. And then the loser has to play off against one of the teams in the lower bracket tomorrow. And that's literally a do or die game. Either you go through or you're out.
Yeah, and the teams that we've got here are pretty stacked, and I think we showed that with the game yesterday that Fnatic played, where 10-star were still able to do a whole bunch. I think that we have to be honest, like, you don't want to be going to the lower bracket. That's always the case, but especially with the caliber of teams that's around right now. The best chance of making it is to just dominate right here, and then you get to chill out. You get to look at the meta, probably prepare for KO. I presume he'll be in at that point. So there's actually a huge advantage to winning the game here today versus qualifying a little further down the line. It looks like we've got a tech pause here, Tom. A little bit of an issue creeping up, and well, hopefully they get that fixed soon. Although I'm sure G2 are also going to be happy to just have a bit of a breather here, because 6-3 down. We said it was neck and neck at one point, but now it's gone to the stage that we're going to need to see something from G2, or this half can slip away from them very, very quickly.
The chat's so quick now that normally this is where I'd go to the Fruit King and see what you had for us today. Like for anybody who hasn't been here, there is a person who's now come over as the Fruit King on the list, and you don't agree with it. You're not a fan.
No,
am I correct?
Let me just pull up the video again. What was it? It was Bind, Haven, Icebox on that. If you were to describe each of these maps, Tom, as a fruit, what would they be? Start with Bind.
What does that even mean?
In Egypt, we had dates there.
Oh,
that
I know
makes a lot
why.
of sense.
Because when you eat a date, you then need to teleport to the bathroom because what it does to...
We've discovered Bind is a date. What's Haven? What's Haven to you?
Oh, I feel like... I'm trying to think. Maybe something like a pomegranate, because just when I eat it, I feel like there's too much going on. That'd be Haven to me.
Okay.
So you're thinking of map layouts, where I'm going a very different way with it.
For me, Icebox has to be a grape because frozen grapes are goated. But you know what, guys? That's enough fruit left. That Fnatic back into the game. Rev the engines. Or I guess we should turn the engines off. We don't want to give any sound cues away to the players. Because we're about to kick it back off here on Bind. 6-3 is the score we left. That Fnatic, we're looking pretty damn good. And G2, hopefully, be able to bounce back on this one because it's starting to get a little bit scary. And of course, they do just have pistols right now. So this isn't even the round that we expect them to answer up in. We're probably looking at a 7-3 scoreline. And at that point, Tom, we need a pretty much flawless final 2 rounds from G2 to put themselves in a good position or even an okay one.
That's the thing we've almost learned with Fnatic on this map is that it doesn't really matter if they even have a weak attack, which is basically what they're known for. All of those after plants, that's what we speak about when we talk about Fnatic on this map. But then we saw Gambit manage to actually do very well versus them on the attack, and they still won that game with just phenomenal retakes. So there's no get out of jail free card. The only team that has ever beaten this roster on this map is Sentinels. So realistically, we want to see some sort of response from G2 now. Otherwise, we might as well start looking at Haven.
Oh, big words from Tom. You talking now, or are we talking the next round? Because I mean, they've got sheriffs. There's a stinger.
It's hot. It's hot. Next 3 rounds.
Can we give an award? Can we get an award to Avova get a trophy? The first man to actually buy a stinger in VCT, I think. And he has not had a good time with it. Rolling, thundered, orbital strike, and shot by Mystic. But Nukie, he's creeping up behind. There's very little time left. 10 seconds on the clock. Nukie actually manages to stop that pipeline, get some kills. And G2, they're way back ahead. The spike's on the floor, and it's done. They've actually won it with the pistols. We were counting them out of this round almost completely. And they put 4 on the board, answering up here and now, Tom. G2 are back in the game.
There you go. I said it. I wanted an answer now. You just didn't believe. That's
4 on G2. Strike and shot by Mystic, but Nukie, he's creeping up behind. There's very little time left. 10 seconds on the clock. Nukie actually manages to stop that spike line, get some kills. And G2, they're way back ahead. The spike's on the floor, and it's done. They've actually won it with the pistol.
There you go. I said it. I wanted an answer now. You just didn't believe. That's all it was. The worst thing about that was 2 ults invested, right? In an eco from Fnatic. So they put in a Rolling Thunder, an Orbital Strike. They got a double entry, and then they lost? Like, what? That play from Nukie was insane. But again, that's why we rate him so highly. When he was in Heretics, he was a god. It's looking like, well, big surprise. He still is, but that was a ludicrous play, and of course Mixer then just finishes it off with a couple of wonderful sheriff kills. There's so much talent on G2, no doubt about that, but that was definitely a shock round. How does Boaster, like, jump up on a corner and then still hit the headshot? Like, come on, man.
I'm blown away by that previous round. It's like G2 just robbed the bank, but yeah, Boaster's gotten away with highway robbery on that one, putting the man advantage into Fnatic's favor. Goldamenta, oh, he's in trouble. That drone kind of ruined his plan of potentially going in for the mid peaks, and expecting a one-way to make its way on top of that box any moment now, but it doesn't look like it's on the way. Maybe it is a bit too late because the peak's already in. Doma able to take both of these guys down, and that was one fault line hit them both by the looks of things. Now getting that plant in, it's a 5v2. G2 probably thinking about the last round rather than winning this one because their chances are pretty damn slim.
後ろも見られている。
They had a grab well, even just to catch him as he tried to run away. Like that's just a beautiful execution from Fnatic. Like they basically thought of every single way you could escape. Like you're trying to run through all these different traps that have been set and obstacle course put up just to try and get to the bathrooms, and it's not happening. That was excellent, and that's what we know, as said, Fnatic for. Like they are constantly innovating this game. Now for now, it's some exits. They've managed to bring this into a 2 versus 3, but the time is too far gone. There's no real chance for Mixwell to do anything. Considers using a snake bite just to try and hold the remaining players in, but they have gone in the other direction. And in fact, Magnum will even die to the spike, so at least making it a bit more costly. I don't think it's going to play much of a part in this next round, as I'm sure Fnatic should have enough cash anyway, but maybe it might make it the difference between a piece of utility missing or there's something extra at least.
No, they've got lots of cash.
No way.
Yeah, they off that streak, they won 5 out of 6 rounds, and a lot of them were decently clean. So that one upset versus the Pistols, that ain't really going to trouble them. The one thing that it did trouble was the ult economy, because you see coming into the final round, they can have Cosmic Divide, they can have Hunter's Fury, and other than Viper's Pit, that's it. So the high value of Rolling Thunder and Orbital Strike are out of the game for what was a loss versus an eco. Pretty big. Whereas G2, I see a showstopper in play. And sure, Nuke might have been robbed the last time he used it. Again, looked bang on to me, but somehow those players evaded it. I don't feel like they'll be so lucky this time around, Tom. Nuke doesn't miss twice.
No, it's unlikely. I would definitely bet against it, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. It happens every once in a while. Now they've gone for the extra players over onto B in the early stages of the round, but I assume, based on the utility being placed on the other side of the map, they're actually going to rotate an extra player over. Mixo, he has to get a kill here, but they're supposed to expect him. It's all been a bait. The screen he throws down is just trying to pull him forward. And now they've lost what is, well, I was going to say the majority of their smokes, but then I remember how many controllers are actually on the Fnatic side. I think they'll be okay.
Nuke. Oh, Nuke's up close, but he's getting shut down. The showstopper is now out of the round completely. Kellogg's flashed up and dealt with, and this A defense yet again seems to be just crumbling. The final remaining defender being Avova, who's now smoked off, considering the peek around. There's the Viper's Pit. That's going to allow him to spray pretty much for free with this Phantom. He gets the one, but then shut down right after. Mixwell through the smoke trades it back, and this is winnable yet again. Hunter's Fury online for Fnatic. That's going to help them in the post plans. They need to be very, very careful. Actually, look at the HP on these G2 players. If they don't take too much damage in the initial fight, they can still tank the Hunter's Fury. So Doma needs to get something done here, or the round is going to fall apart. There's the Hunter's Fury pop. Doma knows now that they're both off the spike. He's being pushed down on and loses out the duel. Durka needs to peek wide. He's got 33 HP, no time and no life anymore, because Mixwell's brought a big 4K into the last round of the half. It is 7-5 going on to the defending side for Fnatic. And considering they won the pistol, Tom, this still remains pretty much neck and neck.
I think the streak of 4 rounds definitely put things in doubt, but man, it's some good. I think the thing that's impressed me most, especially with how minimal the amount of time we've seen the practice of this squad, obviously all the changes that have happened, like we sort of spoke about it earlier, that this is a completely new team other than Mixwell, but I think you also have to talk about the fact that Mixwell is playing a completely different role. Like this is nowhere near what he was doing before, still putting in some high impact rounds though, a 4K in this one, and some decent retakes and synergy between the players. So yeah, consider me impressed, especially when you remember who they're up against. So this is... the team from EU when it came to the second Masters, so... Expect a lot. Oh, Doug, that's risky. He did not expect anyone to peek him there.
The first loss of the pistol round. And now we go in a favor for G2. It would do a lot if they can manage to win this. Pretty much equalize up the score lines for them right off the bat. Fnatic. Still not fully sure where this hit's going to be coming in. 2 players on the B side. Boaster seems set to get that
おーっ
information.
と
There
3
it
人
is.
見えた
He spotted two. They can always take the teleporter, and indeed they will.
来て来て
Going all the way
助けてって
around,
言って
taking bath control. This seems like a very telegraphed play, though, and indeed it is, because it's a fake. G2 want
あ
to
い
go
けへ
to
んのか
B,
一人削られとるで
but Fnatic haven't fallen for it either.
No, Magnum's pushed up into the bathrooms. If anything, this just gives them the key that it's not going to be an A hit unless they've doubled back into mid. So unless they're going to try and do a ring around the Rosie and go back through the teleporter again, Fnatic know what's going on.
30 seconds
Oh yeah,
left.
they've got that information to play with, and Boaster in a sneaky position if Mystic fires off. Even if he doesn't, Boaster's gonna catch them off guard. Good for one to start it off. Doma with another, and they walk right by Mystic, but luckily it gets checked still by Avova, and another fallen player. It's Magnum all alone. Aftershock to work with here, and he's gonna pop it out. Avova needs to move out of the way, and he's got barely any time. 6 seconds on the clock. Magnum is just running it down. No time anymore. He has to find the fight. He has to run after. And Adi in the corner. Magnum will just about get away with it. 8-5, the last second, and he finds the kill. Whew. That was close.
やっぱ
There's so many things to mention in that round. Firstly, it has to be pointed out that Magnum was the person who gave them the information in the first place and was the last man to get into that site. So the fact that he clutches out in the end is huge. But also, how did Doma survive in the middle of the site as long as he did? Like, it doesn't make sense. He just seems to be ducking and weaving, finding kills as he does it while being completely surrounded by players. Superb stuff from Fnatic, a team that almost became the meme of losing pistols. They've got both.
Maybe they've fixed it. That's been their primary focus in the downtime. It gives you a huge advantage, and provided they don't lose to this eco, you'll see that in the form of basically a 4-round lead over G2 before taking any buy rounds into consideration. And that's, I mean, that's all that's separating them basically at this point. So,
Enemy tag.
godsend for them in such a close game. I do wonder though, G2 strike me as a team now with the roster that they've got, that on the attack side they'll be incredibly strong. So I don't think it's going to be quite so clear cut for Fnatic, and really they need to be walking out of this round with pretty much all their players alive.
They may only have one duelist, but duelist has been one of the best players in Europe since pretty much the beginning of this game. So I'm definitely in belief that they can pull this one back. Doma gonna be smoked off, but he's in position here. Not a lot of time left, but they're going to try and get themselves at least a plant and a little bit of extra cash. But there's still a lot of utility available for Fnatic. They love setting up for these retakes. We're already going to see the aftershock going through, but you can, I was going to say you can tank the first blast. You can't tank two though, Coldamenta.
An ambitious play, we will say. Oh, the shock dart with the flash. Good night, sweet dreams. Galax is out of here. Still, no player dropped over on the Fnatic side. They're doing well. Looks like they might finish that way. Indeed, a flawless round from Fnatic. Putting 9 on the board and making sure that they can definitely play a bonus round coming into the next.
Yeah, as said, this is something that impressed me even when we were looking up against the likes of Gambit, which I think comparatively to what we're looking at from G2 right now, we're a team that has been together a very long time, has incredible synergy and individual skill, and Fnatic were doing exactly the same against them in the retakes. They're just exceptional at coming in together and basically just working their way through the site methodically. We saw all the different pieces of utility, the shock darts thrown through, the aftershock to make the plant awkward. Like, they just have a plan in all of these rounds. So it's not like with a lot of teams where you almost feel like the after plant is the be all and end all. Versus Fnatic, you really have to be so strong in those after plant positions.
Oh, wow. Okay, the firing squad off the bat. And I don't know how Durka survived as long as he did. One way to make weaker weapons work, but a good trade by G2 to pull it into the man advantage. Now remember, Fnatic's goal here is to get probably 3 kills. If they manage that, that's a successful round on a bonus. You don't expect to win these when you have Spectres, but you'll still give it your damn best shot. And G2 showed us earlier that, never mind Spectres, you can win it with pistols if you really want. Now, completely isolated here is Mixwell in bathroom, and Magnum has pushed the full way through. they know that they haven't cleared out
で B に寄り
bathroom,
たい
but
んや
with
け
the
ど一
presence
人
on
残っ
B,
とるでアタッカー
they
側が
might not end
そう
up
バイ
clearing,
パー
and
の
Mixwell
ミク
could
セル
have
が
a
残っとる
really
で
early flank, a really unsuspected flank on
B
these
に寄り
players.
きれないディフェンダー側かなりフリーですおっとバレてい
In
る
terms
しか
of the
も
round,
敵は
though,
武器
I
が
think
強
the
い
most clinical thing is whether or not Dome is going to be able to do anything in this spot. Only with a Spectre in hand, as you mentioned, Molotov will at least buy a little bit of extra
モルトルで
time.
手前だけクリアして
And I think you are correct in saying that
Oh,
Mixwell's flank could be perfect, but instead they go back, and that could be a problem. Now Magnum's watching and has spotted those players as they look to wrap around. Of course, Mixwell called it, it's clear, doesn't know that anybody's lurking in the back lines, but they don't expect him to be as deep in the site as he is. It leaves seconds left to get that spike down, but the remaining two players shouldn't be able to do anything about it with the current spot, and Mixwell just blocking off, making sure there's no opportunity for the remaining couple of players to get kills. 4 players alive, no shenanigans this time from Fnatic, and a much cleaner start to the half for G2.
yeah, most definitely 6 to 9. I mean, when you look at how things went in the previous half, it's identical, right? Again, for those of you at home, the names at the moment are swapped. So if you look at the timeline in the middle, it's upside down,
いやーこ
essentially.
れ負けると
So
かなりきつい
Fnatic won the
負ける
pistol,
と
they won the follow-up,
7-9
and then they lost 3 rounds in a row. Now, again, G2 have been very good at bouncing back and repelling that bonus round. But here's the buy round that they need to deal with as well, and it might not be so easy because Fnatic have so much money to work with. They didn't need to invest anything into the previous round, and now they have everything they could possibly want. Telos. Oh, he is in danger here. The flash, though, should deter them from peeking further.
アフターショックは効かない
That's a lot of utility baited out for one
ドローンで
flash.
クリア
And all in all, worth
Vale,
it. He's managed to get his ultimate. So that's the Seekers pulled into this round. As I said, it's one of the cheapest we currently have in VALORANT. Only 6 points needed
ザリガニ
to
ケア
have
して
that
ます
ult
ザ
in
リガニ
play.
にモロトフ投
And I
げ
do
て
question if they're about to maybe try and get a little bit closer to having that showstopper available as well. A clear plan for G2 on this attack side to challenge for those orbs. On the Fnatic side, they're about to be pressured on B by the looks of
確
it.
認して
Oh, they're about to be heavily pressured. Durka can't even get back out to the site. There's a perfect example of an orbital strike used to clear 2 corners and keep anybody from pushing out. It doesn't get a kill, but it's immensely valuable. And Boaster's quick rotation might end up costing him his life. Avova catches him coming out of astral form, and a man advantage now sits comfortably with the attackers. Nukia even managing to avoid being spotted by that drone. And so up on top, he will have an angle, although he doesn't manage to find the kill off the back of it. G2 need to make a decision on where they're going, and it looks like that spike is on its way towards the B site. But a big fake.
Bait.
バイパーズピット
They've
なぜか
thrown it
テレ
in.
ポート前
The
に置い
teleport has
て
been used, but they don't expect.
Teleport できないように
Darker, never mind! Avova with the 180 headshot. That's the difference maker. You give Durka that first kill, and I'd bet anything I have that he would have got more than one. But the second he's cleared out, round over. That's it.
Yep, exactly. The 1 versus 4 is unwinnable for Magnum right now, and the round goes to G2. This round is making me very happy because there was no secret back in the beta days up until the end of G2's reign that I wasn't a fan of how they played necessarily. I think their mid-round was incredible, the way that they worked off each other, but the lack of cohesive structure always hurt me. Looking at this here, G2's plan, they've done something that we always critique teams for ignoring, which is Fnatic love to take bathroom control. They love to fight for this because of the orbs, especially with this composition. When you can get the orbital strike, the rolling thunder, these ults online are so valuable. But G2 have the same. If anything, they probably have a better set of ultimates to use in terms of round-to-round impact. And they go and fight for it in the early stage. They steal that ult orb from under their nose and cause a whole bunch of utility to be used up, which is just leagues better than what we had seen from the old roster back in the day. And I think I'm already starting to become a fan of this team.
I think as well, like, one of the other criticisms that was always there is it seems like almost like the too many cooks. Like there were too many people seemingly making calls. Now we know that they brought in Coda Mentor, a set in-game leader. They tried to do the same with Ozzy, which
気分を切り替えたいそんなあなたになりたい気分に合わせた一杯と音楽をレコメンドサーモスで自分時間を美味しく始めよう大人バーで検索
I actually do still think was an improvement, even though it didn't necessarily work as well as excitedly going into B. They knew what the plan was, which when you have even just two people talking about, okay, are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? You've already lost that round. So bringing in Coldamenta, okay, sure, he might be bottom of the board, but who cares if those calls are going to be working out for them?
Coldamenta. I remember back in the day, my battalion brother is doing well. Always good to see them succeed. The Kellogg's as well. He's been pretty impressive, you know. Coming out, I think, for a lot of people that watch EU Valorant maybe wouldn't have been too familiar with Kellogg's. Certainly, when you look at the name brand that is on a lot of these kind of top 5 teams, he might have evaded you. But definitely been a lot of whispers around that he was someone to keep an eye on, although he may not have made it to mainstreams all that often. And now, showing up big on this Sky. I've enjoyed watching him so far. Looks like we've got a bit of a...
Yeah, I will say, I'm quietly excited for his jet. Like I've seen a few things here and there that I think that it's one. I feel like there's very good Sky players, and like some of them are even in this server. Fnatic as well. Definitely happy to pull that out. Magnum has worked some wonders with that agent before, but at the same time, I just think that nowadays, especially with all the utility that you can purchase, all the counters to Jet, like just someone who can just pull out ridiculous rounds, and also just the chance as well that if we do end up on Icebox, we are going to probably get a Kellogg's versus Durka show, which I think as long as there's no like changes within these teams over the next year, I think it'll be something that we're looking forward to every single time it happens.
That's fine by me. At the moment, the battle of Nukier versus Durka is still raging on. We'll see how that one transpires. As we come into round number 17, Tom, there's a little bit of waning weaponry on the Fnatic side, but they have that orbital strike to play with. Indeed, contrary to what the UI might be telling you, there is no Viper's Pit online right now. They are one door away. Big TP from G2. They're going to start moving over, and this is something I actually think G2 use these TPs and are faking more than any team that I've seen. Honestly, their attack side seems to be mind games on mind games, and it's confusing me at times, so I'm a fan.
Yeah, at least it's going to distort your enemies with the amount of sound that's just being made. Maybe if you add in a Euro, it will be a few more noises made.
I don't know, man. Let's just go mad. Oh, wow.
Just make it nice and loud in this server. Green wall! It's back!
30 seconds
The green wall returns. Someone shoot it. Let's see if it goes back to blue after a bullet. I feel like it's an Easter egg. Just seems like such a random thing to be random. And indeed, as it gets hit at the orbital strike, it goes back to its blue color. And so does the kill feed. Magnum taking himself a quick double and punishing G2. They're on site, and they've got the spike planted. That res going to be challenged right away, but it goes towards G2's favor. Evolva answering up onto Boaster, but now he's trapped and being hunted by the Spectres. He will be eliminated, and Mystic left in the 1v1 doesn't know that Nukia is so aggressive in holding that angle. Putting 8 on the board for G2. They're closing in on Fnatic's lead despite both pistols going their way, and a 4-0 early half start off the back of those pistols with the two halves combined. G2 are only trailing by 1.
If they win this with losing both pistols, that will be a statement and a half. I know that there's a lot of Fnatic and G2 fans here, but to say there's some people who haven't seen the history of this Fnatic roster, they have lost this map since they added Durka and Magnum once, and that was to Sentinels in, I think that was the grand final, right? I think that's the only time they've ever lost this map. If they now lose it to G2 with the iteration of this roster just really being created, that would be one of the biggest statements you could ever make coming back into the VCT. So I am excited. Hello. Free kill for Mixwell. I feel like he's just been annoying in this second half, just lurking around on that Viper, creating problems, and then they just teleport away, and Doma, he's left on his own. And with how good he is with this Sheriff, I'm almost a little bit disappointed that there's someone waiting in the teleporter. I think he expects it, tries to even pre-fire one of the walls, but he's going to be caught off by his doppelganger.
One thing that's also worth mentioning, Tom, is that the time that they lost this map to Sentinels, it was 16-14. It's not like Fnatic got smashed by them. They have long been a strong bind team with their old roster, even stronger with this one. And for G2's new roster, which consists of one of the previous players, half of Heretics, Kellogg's and Gordamenta, bringing what they do, I really feel like it's better than a honeymoon period. It's one of the best things you could. It's the best probably you could hope for. Swinging on into VCT, and at 9-9, they're damn close to getting it done. A very slow start, and you notice at this point, Tom, Fnatic, they're playing quite caged. They didn't go in for that control over a bathroom like they normally do, instead conceding it to G2 and giving a free ult orb away. Now Seekers and Orbital Strike online for the attacking side.
And they put a hell of a lot of stars down over on it as well. But it takes a little bit longer to get those back after you retrieve them as well, especially if you then go to utilize them if someone pushes in. And I question whether or not we're about to see Mixwell try and fake this one out once again. You do have Durka ready and waiting, watching, but here come the Seekers, pushing straight through, already going to give that information away, although he's destroying them quick enough that I question if it's going to be a problem. Orbital Strike also used, but guess what, bitch? They're on the road back towards the A site again.
That they are. They love their fakes, but it looks like Fnatic might have an idea. There's 3 players in position. Orbital Strike not online, sadly. That could be a huge difference maker if it was. But Mixwell, look at this. Sneaking on in. Oh, he's going to actually catch off one, and now the Hunter's Fury has to be cancelled early. Or no! In fact, it's going to be a free kill. Mixwell just charging forward. Boaster wants to try and deny the plant, but he can't get it done. A 2-man advantage for G2, plus post plans. Fnatic want this round, but it's just not possible anymore. Mystic pretty much has to save at this point. Surely he doesn't go for this.
Well, it looks like he's giving it a go. Already taking a play into the site. He's been held off at least by the snake bites for a second. Kellogg's is in behind to just put that final nail in the coffin. I'll be honest with you, Mitch. Coming into this roster, I saw all the changes. I was like, okay, we've now got a switch up of a move to Sentinel for Mixwell. I was like, okay, how's that going to go? Like, how realistic? Like, going from what was a Jet playing a bit of Raze here and there to moving over to a Sentinel. I was like, well, basically a Sentinel. I guess technically not on this map. He's playing a controller, but I feel like it's similarly played. And it's going really well. Like, his lurks so far have been incredible. He's taken so much map control. He's been one of the main creators for them being able to go for a lot of these switches, because not only is he taking over a lot of the time on his own, but he's also just staying alive in positions where you feel like he should be traded out by some of the Fnatic members. I don't know. This almost looks like a new lease of life for Mixwell when he didn't even necessarily need it. Like, we still put him as the star player of the squad for quite a long time.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, when you're playing the Jet Operator, of course you're going to get that mantle, and then moving further on, it sort of just stuck, especially statistically. It's stuck anyways. But at this point, I'm loving his Viper. I think it's interesting to see him adapt to that new role, and something that we've long critiqued or long stated, that players need to have that extra depth. You need to be able to do more than just the one thing, and I think this is almost evidence of it. You could say it's working all right. 19-11 right now. I mean, the question asked in chat was Durka or Nukia. Which one of those two would have the most kills? Still a very even battle, but I didn't expect Mixwell's Viper to yield such high results.
Well, luckily you didn't say who has the most kills in the game and then put those two down. It would have been a decent guess at the beginning, but at least for now, it seems like Mixwell's running the show. Now we're going to see them take over at least some aspect of the site, but when you look at the remaining players of GT, like, I feel like I'm almost having to start to work out where they're going. Like, okay, they've started off over on A, but there's people waiting outside B, so that means they're probably going to go B and then maybe go back through the teleporter and go A anyway. Is that the plan?
You're a brave man to try and anticipate this, and I imagine that Boaster's brain is even hurting, attempting to comprehend what his opponents are doing. Right now, he's just stood outside that Viper's pit, staring in, wondering how many enemies await him. And it looks like his foes have been spotted, at least 3 towards B. Doma in a bit of trouble here on the long-range duel with the Sheriff. And Mixwell He was almost in trouble
30
himself.
seconds left.
Manages to sneak away, giving away the fact that there is still control here, and they're rotating. They're fully committing to this, Tom. G2 love their mind games, but there's still two guys in position. Fnatic haven't been so... What was that? What? I mean, he can see him on radar, I guess, but that was disgusting. And now Magnum, go on, get him through this. Fnatic haven't been so... What was that?
What?
By the fact that there is still control here, and they're rotating. They're fully committing to this, Tom. G2 love their mind games, but there's still two guys in position. Fnatic haven't been so... What was that? What? I mean, he can see him on radar, I guess, but that was disgusting. And now Magnum, go on, get him through the smoke as well, Mixwell. He's just having one of those rounds. He's tagged him up massively, and he just keeps on going, man. The wall protecting him from the flash. He's on for the ace, and he's gonna get it done as well. Mixwell.
Wow.
Top fragging the server, and he just keeps on rolling with it. 11-9. G2 are feeling good.
Okay, no matter how big a Mixwell fan you are, don't lie and tell me you thought his Viper would be this good. This is ridiculous. He is schooling Fnatic at the moment. This is our best. This is our EMEA representative, or one of them at least. They're winning on their best map. I am blown away. If they don't close this out now, I'll almost be a little bit sad.
Those are going to be having words with you after that comment, Tom, but...
Don't
say I agree, but I can see where you're coming from. 11-9, this has been a fantastic game from G2 so far. And let's be very clear on this. This is the round that could win it for them. It's a full buy for Fnatic. They've invested in... G2 guaranteed themselves an overtime by claiming this one here. Right out of the smoke, Mixwell, he is feeling it, running in, stunned up as he was. And now, we're looking damn good. The plan's in for G2. Mixwell keeps going, man.
No.
Somebody stop this guy. He's trapped under heaven, and still now, we're looking damn good. The plan's in for G2. Mixwell keeps going, man.
No.
Somebody stop this guy. He's trapped under heaven and still good for a third. Out for more. And robbed of an ace purely by his teammates getting kills. It's Durka running for the hills. He's out of here. But Kellogg's again, that nasty player coming up behind. Looks like Durka was ready, but at this point, it's just a consolation prize. He's running for the hills to save the weapon because it is 12-9, and Fnatic, they're in a pretty shaky spot economically, with G2 only needing one more of these attack rounds where they've looked so damn good.
Oh, it almost feels like the Jaws theme should be playing right now. He's being hunted. Just down from behind. Is he going to check? Easy stuff for Mix. 9 kills in 2 rounds. In 2 rounds. It just hit a whole new level. He's 28-11.
And it wasn't even an eco that he did it to. It was like a comfortable Spectre, Sheriff. They had armor, like they had stuff to work with, not a full eco. It wasn't classics that he aced. And then versus a full buy, I cannot believe that he just ran out onto the site like that. They had flashed back site, so I guess he thought, oh, this player will be full blind. He wasn't, but still, it gets all 3 kills in that and then finishes with a 4K. It's disgusting. It really and truly is. Mixwell outshining someone like Nuke. And on a Viper at that, 12-9. We move on, Tom, and this could well be the final round.
Oh, Durka, he's already knocked down so desperately low, just trying to escape out. The slow, give him just that at least. Clover's still looking to put pressure on, but we know there's that TP behind them. They've been utilizing them the majority of the round. In terms of ultimates available, we still see that Viper's Pit. Of course, it's being farmed up pretty much. Mystic spot, though. This could be... How does he know? He didn't even check anywhere else. Just swing straight out. Mixo again. He's just on fire. I think that's his 30th kill in this game. Dominating Fnatic. And now it's left Durka down to just 16 HP. A 112 HP even. A 1 versus 5. This is done. Bind for the 2nd time ever in Fnatic's history with this roster is going to be taken away by what is a brand new G2.
And Mixwell to get the final kill. It suits. It really does fit the series. 31 kills to close that one out if our math isn't absolutely terrible. And that was one of the best maps I've seen from Mixwell, period. And I'm talking, I've cast this man since the start of the beta when they were dominating. And he still, I don't think, ever looked that good. This is a vitalized G2, a revitalized, I should say. And I'm really liking the look of it. Bind going to them. And think about it, Tom. When we talk about Sentinels beating Fnatic, it was 16-14. G2 have just beaten them in far more dominant of a fashion than the team that's widely considered to be the best in the world. And lost both pistols. Like,
you
need one of those things where it's like the guy just throwing all of the notes into the air, like just all of them just gone everywhere. Because you go into this series, even as a G2 fan, I think you look at Bind and you go, that's Fnatic's map. Like, what are we gonna do on the other two? Did you expect that? Like, come on. Like, I don't think there's any prediction that could ever have been made that would have thought that that would happen. And then Mixwell, well, you gave us two options, Mitch, of who's going to be out, who's getting the highest frags. It turns out the third was Mixwell. Like, that was it. It was option C all along, as that man was by far the best player in the server when it came to that attack. Unbelievable performance. And now we go on to their map choice of Haven, and I honestly don't know what to expect anymore.
Yeah, the other thing that's worth mentioning, Fnatic had the higher seed, which means they got to pick two maps, essentially. They got Bind and Icebox being the third, so they have a huge advantage, not comfort ground for G2. I am overjoyed with the game we just figure out who he's going to be up against. Maybe that, and we'll see you.
休憩している。休憩ということで、ちょっとトイレ行ってきますね、今のうちに。マジか。ワンチャンあれか世界2位が言ってまあ世界2位なんでフナティックもまあ意地ありますしね。プラスその、実際年末にやる本当の世界大会チャンピオンズはチャンピオンズやったっけ、ワールドシリーズやったっけ、なんかそれはもうポイントが高いんで、センチネルは 200% 出れて、この間のマスターズで優勝したで、今度のマスターズで優勝したも絶対出れるんで、そのマスターズで上位入賞するとポイントもらえるんですけど、まあ予選でももらえるんですけど、それでポイント稼いでポイント上位何名みたいな感じで世界大会、年末のね世界大会にも出れるということなんで、フナティックはねだいぶ有利なんですよね。30ポイントぐらい持っとるんじゃなかったかな、分からんけど。なんでまあ予選で負けても痛くないってことはないか。でも負けるとかなり、まああとフナティックも落ちたなとか言われるフナティ ナティックも落ちたな、世界2位とかちょっと調子乗ってたんじゃないのみたいな言われるでね、普通にこの業界は。やっぱ練習せずにちょっとかまけとって曲みたいな。どの業界でもねプロスポーツシーンやと言われるよね。ということでどんどん行ってみましょう。おっとダウンロードできない。どうなっている。頑張って。それ結構飛ばす。結構長いぞこれ。いやでもこれで始まっとったら嫌やな。はい。まだいける。
No, Mitch, can you restart your?
失礼しました皆様。
So I'm sticking.
もうちょい。何急に始まるのなんなん。
Not surprised it was a little bit of a break there. Certain people are going to need a breather. I'm sure Mixwell's going to need to do some wrist exercises after that one because he's got to be getting cramped up. 31 kills on Fnatic's best map to have the most dominant victory versus the #1 EU team as it currently stands. Although things might be changing because G2, they're coming for that title again.
実況者2人が適当に喋っとる。
Yeah, I just fear for whoever's in that lower bracket and is just watching this game and just going, oh, come on. Like, come on. How am I going to beat either of these teams? Like, either, in one hand, you have the team that is considered the #1 in Europe, or you have the new super team that has just beaten them on their best map. Which pill do you choose, Mitch? Red or blue?
Yeah, it's
horrible.
It's a pretty tough one, but I'm going to ask you to choose that now. Red or, I guess, green, blue, sort of in between. Who you thinking takes this map right here, Tom?
I am never going to count Fnatic out. I think that was a phenomenal performance from G2. I think Mixwell played a huge part. And obviously, if he keeps that level up, then sure, they can definitely do it. But let's not pretend like this is a bad map for Fnatic either. Like, we have a similar stat that they've only really lost it, I think, since April to Sentinels. So I'm sticking with Fnatic for now. But you know what? Honestly, I don't even mind. With games like that, who cares?
It's all about good Valorant, isn't it, at the end of the day? And we've got some good Valorant for you here. A Phoenix out on the side of Fnatic. It's always exciting to me. I like seeing those run it backs, especially on a map like Haven. I really like Phoenix here. Let's see how things are going to be wrapping up, because they're on the defender side now. Obviously, G2's map pick with a one-map advantage. A minute left here in the pistol. Excuse me, in the pistol round. It doesn't look like G2 want a full commit just yet. They're still spread out in a default, waiting for one of the Fnatic players to push forward. And I think Mixwell, excuse me, has spotted Phoenix in the corner.
He definitely seems to have a decent idea. In fact, even just seen a Paranoia fly past. Durka going to take the initial engagement, leaving Doma to try and fight back. But it's very calm and collected again. Just trading efficiently. Already utility just being spammed onto the site, trying to get as much as they can to block off this push from G2. And you know what? Magnum, he's going ham. He's found 3 kills. Just quickly closing this as Mystic comes along to find one more. It's gonna be the round going the way. Oh yeah, of Fnatic. I was looking at the one in the top right corner. It threw me off. No, Mitch, can you restart your Discord thing? Because it's doing that weird sound bug again.
All right, okay, gotcha. Online production be what it is. There you go. Hopefully, let me know anyways. If it doesn't...
Yeah, I won't be able to tell until there's a loud sound.
No worries. But yeah, a big switch around there in round number 1. Kind of flips on its head pretty quickly. G2 now on the back foot, having to take a pretty weak buy out of this one. And Fnatic, well, they're going to look to survive with as many weapons as they possibly can. A couple upgraded weapons with some classics sprinkled throughout for G2. Which realistically means that Fnatic should be getting away with 4 players alive.
Yeah, I almost like, of course there is investment here, so I don't just want to talk over this round, but I am just looking at the composition that has come out for Fnatic, and there are some pretty drastic changes from what we've seen before. Firstly, a Phoenix being brought up is not something that I was necessarily expecting, especially with how good Doma's Sage normally is on this map. That's definitely a surprise. We've seen them switch over to a Cypher, which I think can kind of be expected, maybe preemptively with a lot of the new changes that's come in, or just like the Jet change that happened as well. That could be a possibility. And also the Sova being added back in, something they did previously as well.
Yeah, a lot of mix and matching. As I said, the Phoenix is something I'm a big fan of. Seeing when it comes to Haven, the rest of the changes, I'll hold my breath on that. I still like Sky a lot more than I like Sova. We'll see how it rocks. For now, oh, that's a risky peek by Magnum. And although the rest of it still seem to be going their way, damage is done here for G2. If they can get one more kill out of it, it would have been a nice round, but they don't. And as Durka only had, I think, a Ghost coming into that round, he should be able to pick up a weapon. I guess he already has one.
Something else as well is that looking, I'm using VLR for this because I was thinking about it. I was like, have I ever seen Mystic play Sova?
Oh.
And according to VLR, the answer to that question is no.
That kind of makes sense, actually. Yeah. It's a curious one, and I do wonder when they're pulling this out, what are they directly trying to work against it? Because I don't think that maybe it is just a change from them, something that they like on this map. But I'd imagine they're looking at G2, maybe seeing that Killjoy and thinking, hey, a couple of those shock darts, having the 100 Fury could be pivotal. That's a really hard one. The key thing here is that you have an operator invested into for Durka. In a round like this, it doesn't have the same context of being a bonus, because sure, he can take Bladestorm in next round more than likely, but when you buy that operator, it's more important to not give it to your opponent. That's more so what you're looking for. So you want to win this one. Durka is pushed all the way down on C, so they've gotten value for that weapon, but with the rest of them having weaker weapons in the form of Spectres, they're on the A side grouped up. They're trying to use numbers to their advantage. But with G2's very slow play and fake heavy presence that they've had on Bind and carried through to Haven already in the early stages, this is going to be really tough for Fnatic to actually get value out of, espally with Magnum spotted and still outside of A. If they decide to go where they seem to be towards B and C, then, well, this operator's going to be in a lot of trouble. Oh, but they're gravitating back into A.
I've got your trail.
Well, it's been spotted, that's for sure. We're going to see the Seekers once again thrown out. This time, Cordamenta manning that agent. Magnum in the corner, but he's left so unbelievably blind. The execution clearing most, if not all now, of the defenders. And while Durka, he just has to hold on to this, because you mentioned, like, okay, potential for the Bladestorm. It has to be added as well that is one of the ultimates that has become more expensive. Like, it's a lot more inaccessible for a lot of these players, especially in the amount of rounds that you have to try and farm up these kills. So he's only got 2 orbs, so he's definitely not having it in the next round unless he's going to kill everyone else.
Yeah, I was blind calling the Bladestorm, presuming that with ult orbs, kills, that sort of stuff, that obviously I haven't been keeping track of every single player and where the kills are at, so I was just guessing that he was close with that operator bind, but yeah, as you pointed out, he isn't. So saving this is essential, first of all, but also very risky buying it in the first place. If you lose it, your bonus round now leaves one of your teammates with no weapon to play with, essentially. Pretty ludicrous stuff, but hey, they do save the operator through, so it doesn't end up costing them anything. And this is where the full buy comes in for Fnatic. G2, they win the previous round, they get it done. It's not that... It's expected, right? But this is where they have to also win if they want to be bouncing back. Because Fnatic, they get the weapons in hand, and things start to get a little bit scary.
Yeah, I want to add a small side note as well, that while this has been going on, Ascend has already finished their series versus BDS. 13-5, 13-5. Dominant.
Ascend beat BDS.
Yeah, smashed them. Oh my god! Stop facing Nuki there! Stop facing him there!
Cordamenta about to put through the little tiger, and it already faced Magnum after the opening. He was peeking to see what was going on. Doma domed through the door. The 4 versus 2 remains. G2 They've got some pretty impressive control right off the bat. Cold Dementor's flash covers the crossover. And that's not the ideal time to take the astral form. Mystic's all alone. His one shock dart sold the other so he could buy this Phantom. Well, he's being spotted as well, so the information there to play with for G2. Although he baits them out into at least being able to take that back fight, they're too quick to swing. This is suboptimal, you would say. That round didn't quite go according to plan.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of players getting caught out. It seems like the aggression as well that Fnatic are attempting, it just isn't working. Like Nuki now, like all he's really doing is just setting up shop outside of A, watching into the sewers, and that's 2 free kills 2 rounds in a row. Like it's been almost too easy for them thus far. Again, I think that the calling and switch ups that they've been playing in a lot of these rounds again has looked phenomenal. Well, we're waiting for a response. Already, they're gonna know that there's at least somebody outside long, but the problem is with the pistols, Mitch, well, unless you're going to be hitting some pretty impressive shots with the Sheriff, you're probably not winning that battle.
I think you've just challenged Fnatic now, Tom. The G2 fans might be mad with you in a second. There's the first for Durka. He's known to be down below, but ready for the jump. 2 on the board, but only 2 players remaining for Fnatic right after Avova's heroic stand. Boaster's on side, I noticed, creeping into the corner. The backside going to be cleared out, and Boaster now remains undetected. The smoke actually covering him. He's able to take himself almost a double. 1 more bullet in the magazine, and Kellogg's was in a lot of danger. He still is. With low HP and Mystic having a Vandal, this can definitely go towards Fnatic. Even the drone to play with just to clear out this smoke in the close corner.
He's got
Did he tag him? No, he didn't. Spotted both though. And there's the second. He's got the tag. Now, shock dart to come in. Doesn't actually pop the Hunter's Fury. Surprisingly, but obviously doesn't know just how low he is, I guess.
looking like an opportunity for a free kill, but instead just trying to almost find these picks of over, looking to try and bait him out with the pistol. It's going to be the piece. The first goes his way. The swing was a little bit risky. Well, not risky, but rusty, I guess. It didn't quite connect instantly, but Avova, he gets the job done. I believed for a moment in Mystic. G2 still managed to convert the round, but again, you have to say what they had in that round. It was just pistols. So the fact that that comes so close is still a phenomenal round for Fnatic.
Yeah, it should never have been that close at the end of the day. Also, one quick note, the Hunter's Fury being popped or not being popped kind of makes sense when you look at the fact that it was a jet as well. You throw that out, your ultimate just gone in the 1v2. It's a risk that he didn't want to take, and I presume there's some greater plan for it here on the Fnatic side. You take a look at this defense on how it's set up. Not playing on the B side at all. Pretty much just spotting it from the C connector. And the C side just covered in traps for a dash to come in and space to be seized. But G2, they're not ones to run in blind. These guys have had some of the slowest attacking sides that I've seen. And again, very different look to the squad than what we've seen before in any of the previous roster iterations. But Durka finding the opening though. Fnatic have taken the lead, and it's time for G2 to play from behind for what feels like the first time. No, he gets worse.
That's a Durka peak. That's what we like to see. Already managing to find an important kill, and we've seen the Seekers expended Boaster. He's been caught quite a few times. The utility in hand, Mixer seems to punish him every single time. Now the Hunter's Fury goes out, trying to hunt down Nuki, who will pop his heels. The res even coming through to turn this back into a 4v4. What was looking strong might turn back, but Durka is attempting to do all this all on his own. Doma's ult is killed off, and still an opportunity for G2.
Another kill for Durka, putting 4 on the board of Vova. It would a big kill. That nano's missed. It doesn't matter that it's missed because Mixwell swings on it, and as the Killjoy ult pops, Mystic is alone. A miracle round from G2. Avova going huge to put them back in a spot where they can win it and put 4 on the board. After Durka's valiant attempt, finding every kill along the way, they won't get the round.
何人抜くねん。
Wonder how many times there's been, even just in the history of this roster, where Durka's got 4 kills in a round and they haven't won it. Like that, that has got to be infuriating. Doing so much with the operator, and now the problem is that going into the future rounds. Okay, sure, it's definitely not as expensive as it used to be, but it's not a cheap gun. So bringing it back in is not necessarily going to be easy. Now, I'm looking at the investments coming in from Fnatic, and you might think, okay, they're actually putting a fair amount into this one. I think we might be seeing a Blade Storm, Mitch.
It's kind of looking that way, isn't it? Kellogg's, double Blade Storm battle, but Durka uncharacteristically misses the right click. That's a big advantage for G2. Fnatic not having a lot to play with here. Mystic on the saved weapon, only good for 1. And this is another G2 round, putting it 5-2. Unless there's a miracle up either Doma or Magnum's sleeve.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, we got there. It's fine. Just forget the first 6 shots. It's only the last one that matters. And Doma, well, Doma does it in 1, of course. He's just showing off. He doesn't need too many bullets. It doesn't matter though, because Avova's there again. I feel like he's almost just like the silent hero of a lot of these rounds. Like getting himself multi-frags, cleaning things up to make sure that it works out for this squad. I'll say I'm a little bit disappointed we haven't seen his Astra yet, because it is just horrifying. I still remember sitting in some of those tests the first day that Astra was released, getting, I think I got knifed in the first round playing against Astra because that man was on the other side, and he is me.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's all right. On the subject, oh, hold on. No, this is going to be a peak very early on. Durka going back out and taking mix while dashing out of there. And that's the man advantage. Now Durka with this operator, he's already... Oh, that was a hit. Very low HP. The shock dart not going to yield any results as Kellogg's goes back for a kill. 7 TP. It's actually brought to completion. Evolva's up here. This kind of forces them off the site. The paranoia and the flashes that they have on Sky. In a very awkward spot. Mystic's down. Kellogg's, well, he didn't want to be down, but he is. Couldn't quite make it all the way up. And you know what, Durka,
excuse me.
It would go in the highlight reel if it landed, but not this time around, sadly. G2 have a man disadvantage on this retake. So despite the fact that it's been kind of a... It seemed like a powerful start. They're on the back foot.
That wall leaving just a slight gap could be everything. Never mind, Kodamenta just gets wall banged by Durka. No heroics this time, and Fnatic, they'll stick the retake this time around. Potentially looking to try and retrieve some extra weaponry. They are going to make sure that that operator will be continuing into the next round, and even going to farm up an extra ultimate orb as well to make sure Doma can have that run it back as soon as humanly possible.
Doma's been having a pretty rough time so far on the Phoenix, actually. Yeah, when you've got him in play, you got to be seeing a lot of value, really. The upside of having a Phoenix who's dominating is even greater than a Reyna. Because I guess Reyna provides no value to the rest of the team a lot of the time. But for Phoenix, having the run it back and being able to have a 6th man who just entries onto site is unbelievably valuable. Also, shout out, you just saw Nuke. Did you see the glitch? It's been there since day 1 of beta. Where for some reason there's like a texture thing when you swap to a player who is as they're taking out a slow orb. It's a little thing, but gives me nostalgia.
You're all about the little things, aren't you, Mitch? Moving on. Durka looking to try and take a little bit of aggression. This has not been where they've been too successful so far when it comes to A-site plays. And for 2, they're going for the same execution. This is something they've attempted a multitude of times now. Doma straight back in. Does he realize that Kellogg's has already crossed? I think he has. Just opts to back out into the dark cover and not take too many risks here. Waits for Boaster's support.
Oh, here we go. That's one way to go about it. Cosmic Divide comes into play. Kellogg's tries to gain some ground, but he can't, and they're just waiting. Come on in, trickle in. The flash is in play. Doma out through it. Great work from him in this round. A shadow step up above being spotted, and it doesn't actually get it and taken down. I don't know how, but it's Mystic in a 1v2. He's run on the site, taking 1 and almost the 2nd. but Nuke closes 6 on the board for G2. They are stepping ever closer to putting Fnatic in the lower bracket. They have a 1-map lead, and now double the rounds of Fnatic facing into what I wouldn't want to call a full buy over on that defensive side. They're a little bit shaky in terms of money.
Did you see the Avova clip the other day where he just teleports into the site and kills both people? I feel like he's the only player at the moment with the...
Portable電源。まあそんなに悪くない。
さて、今夜私がいただくのは深夜の生ハムのサラダです。どうも、えなりかずきです。
ちょっとな。
えなりかずきです。
違うんだよな。
おおきに。
えなりかずきです。だから。
さすがや。
balls to make plays like that,
I can't
and now
believe
he's
he did
even
that.
doing it versus Fnatic. He's done that twice over the last couple of days. Like last time it was in a 1v2 and he won it. Like the man is taking liberties. He's disrespecting the opponents that he has, and I think he's doing it with a cheeky smile as well.
Again, I just can't believe he did that. I watched it happen. I was physically aware of what was happening, but mentally it didn't process. And the fact that he gets the kill, absolutely ludicrous. And again, goes to show, you know, a lot of the time you're gonna turn around. If he dies, chat's gonna be spamming, Reddit's gonna be going, just see Avova, what an idiot! Why did he think that would work? But when he does it, wins the round. Now, versus Pistols, it was a ludicrous play, but it's just confidence, man. And this is the thing: when you have a player who feels that kind of confidence, you can't sit back and say, "Oh, you made the wrong decision, so you died." You gotta just do it if you're feeling it. Sometimes you gotta take it off of feeling and not logic. And right here, we're seeing that from Avova, who's just gotten rezzed. He's back up in the round.
I'm more worried about this lurk from Mixwell. Magnum seems to have the right idea, though. He's definitely heard him. If he can kill off this final man, look at the time. There's only 25 seconds left. Mixwell was the man making the plays in the last round. Now what do the rest of G2 do? They just have to go barreling into this site. The site where Fnatic are slowly swarming in. Magnum looking to do it all on his own as he spams through that smoke. But Avova comes back quickly with 2. He made it believable, at least for a second. But it's Magnum to take home the trophy this time. A 4th round on the board for Fnatic. A big round as well, considering he only had a pistol in play. And for the other side of things, okay, it's getting a little bit dicey with economy. Light shields for the majority of players, but it is still a buy.
Front desk, can we get a quick check on Avova?
PC, please.
That's ridiculous, man. He is feeling it right now. Well, that 2 kills at the end made it worth the res, but the round ain't gonna go their way. 2 to go. Fnatic want to equalize up. Put the lines between them down to a hair's width, and Boaster a little bit of trouble there. He could have gotten some damage, but the Squids provide the cover. And the plant not going to go in all the way, actually. They've had to back out. And here comes the Blade Storm from Durka, in for 1. And up above, deterring any further mid-push. What was former... Oh, Magnum, he just got caught with the knife out, but it looks like he's good to go. And Avova isn't anymore. Down to a 2v4, and the advantage sits comfortably with Fnatic, even after that one.
It almost came down to timing. I think it was actually Boaster's grab wells that make all of the difference there. Pulling players off from getting that spike down on B. That execution has been something that G2 have rinsed and repeated a few times, and it does seem once they get into those after plants, it's very difficult to break out of them. Even we've seen them use cosmic divides and have you not to try and get back into that site. It just hasn't worked, so I guess the play was just deny the plant, try and get back in beforehand. 6-5, definitely not over, that's for sure. Especially with how the pistols have been going. Like, you'd almost expect Fnatic to win the second one at this point.
Yeah, they've been solid on the old pistols for once. I don't know that I'd be gambling on it, though. Wouldn't be rolling the dice if I was G2. You're looking for 7 on the board here and now, and lockdown to play with Bladestorm pop. Things are looking pretty good on their side. Here we go with a straight-out push onto the side, fully blinded. Up Kellogg's, 1 knife left. Oh, Vova's stolen it away. That means the Bladestorm's gone, but he's managed to get a Phantom for his troubles. And with the plant coming in, that's a heavy advantage. Lockdown post-plant? Oh, that doesn't look good for Fnatic. With that kill, if they can up the pace. I was gonna say they might be able to get there before it's up, but they won't. And their time is their biggest enemy. Oh, well, that's one way for it to go. Vova has just torn them a new one yet again.
I can see what they were going for. Try and clear the players out and then maybe escape before the lockdown actually goes off.
Vova has... Never mind. I was gonna say they might be able to get there before it's up, but they won't. And their time is their biggest enemy. Oh, well, that's one way for it to go. Vova has just torn them a new one yet again.
I can see what they were going for. Try and clear the players out and then maybe escape before the lockdown actually goes off, but it's not going to happen this time. G2 go into the half 7-5 up now. As said, like 3 pistols, 3 victories for Fnatic so far. It's normally almost their Achilles heel. Like that was their weakness in a lot of the matches we saw at the Masters, LAN finals as well. But now they're looking pretty good. However, if this was the one that they would lose, this could be problematic because, again, it's safe to say that G2 have looked exceptional so far when it comes to their attack. They get that extra bonus, potentially putting them up to 9, and I don't know, I'd feel a bit foolish to bet against them at that point. Nonetheless, we're going to see what Fnatic can do here.
But just remember, you did bet against them. You picked Fnatic as the team to win. You said you couldn't possibly go against Fnatic, so... just reminding you, Tom, that you might be completely wrong.
I will stand by what I said. I'm no coward. I'm not like you. I don't sit on the fence. If you can get up on it, of course.
Oh, wow. Come on. Mixwell getting charged on Kellogg's.
That was a low blow.
Oh, not able to get too much done. And then this is looking like it's going to be Fnatic with the pistol yet again, rolling in it. But Evova's still alive, and he's creeping up behind them. He's got the timing. No one's checking it. Here we go. They come back, and no one looks that way either. Evova, luckily, he's only able to get away with the 1 kill, leaving Cordamenta down to do it all.
I think he'd have to basically double his kills in this round alone if he was going to take this pistol home. I can't say I'm much of a believer in that, and it will be, again, 4 for 4 now in pistols. Fnatic definitely worked on that department. Unfortunately, it seems that in a lot of the buy rounds, that's where things have been let slip a little bit. Over at the top of the board now. He's taken over from Mixwell in the previous map. 18 and 10, quite far above anyone else. Are we going to see a cheeky investment here? Now, of course, we can easily get baited by the fact that you can sell your guns back if you change your mind. But it does look like G2 are willing to take a risk. They've got investment into Sheriffs. A Spectre in play at the moment.
They're going for it. Yeah, if they manage to actually win this round, they will crush Fnatic. That puts them in such a bad spot mentally. And look at this. Fnatic are going straight towards the stacked side. 4 players here over on the G2 side. And Nuki is the first to ring out True and take down Durka. But alarm bells are ringing. It looks like Fnatic have realized there's way too many shots on that C side and they're moving elsewhere. Magnum going to play a lurk role in this round as the A side's going to be hit. But this is dangerous. These pistols really thrive when they catch you in an individual fight, and as Magnum comes up behind, it looks like he'll get the timing and get the free kill, but the trade is there immediately. Evolva looking too clean with that Sheriff in play. The man advantage sits in G2's favor even still, and now Evolva's got a weapon to play with, and you do not want to face him when that's the case.
A push. About to come back in. An advantage available. Doma quickly diminishes it down. In fact, he's got Boaster alongside him. It's left to Mixwell. Tanked a little bit, but 2 players to find and not a lot of time to do it. Retrieves the Spectre at least. It might be able to isolate the duel, but the swing was there anyway from Mystic. It's close with the force buy, but more importantly for Fnatic, they convert it. And now the likelihood is we're not going to see much invested at all.
Yeah, you wouldn't imagine that you will. 7-7 at this point. G2, as you said, they've got the sheriffs. Lack of investment, lack of cash. The gamble was worth it. They got some pretty good leg work done on it, but a hero play on the site. Notice how tight-knit Fnatic is right now. Look at the kill distribution. 12, 12, 11, 11, 10. It's nice. It's always good. But G2, 2 maps in a row now. They've had Mixwell, they've had Evolva, having the games of their lives. And with the sheriffs in hand, you still don't want to discredit them.
That is for sure. They are looking like they're about to push into Mixwell's setup. Now, it seems like if he's going to be playing B for the rest of this half, it almost looks like what we see from Yumpy. I just wonder if he will be the one manning that operator, if that is the case. Still gives the freedom to Kellogg's to do the work on Jet. Already, we're going to see that diffuse tap, but they're quickly burning. Not only from the bullets, but from the flames placed down, making things a real struggle. The spam of pretty much every single one of these players is going to make things tough. Still, players being lost at least. Another kill for Durka, though, puts this one almost indefinitely to Fnatic, but they are making things incredibly costly.
8-7. As you said, yeah, the money is getting strained a little bit.
今夜私がいただくのは深夜の生ハムのサラダです。どうも、稲荷和樹です。
ちょっとな。
稲荷和樹です。
違うんだよな。
おきに。
稲荷和樹ですだから。
さすがや。
Because of all that damage being done. And I think at this point, if you're Fnatic, you lose this round, and yet again, G2 get that mental victory, even though they'll tie it up. The fact that they're fighting so much for it, and the fact that the ultimates are coming pretty close to being online, although actually I glance down and I see Lockdown and Seekers online for G2, but at the same time, there's a bunch about to come in for Fnatic as well. This ult orb's going to be a point of contention at the start of the round. And the smoke up top stops Evolva from harassing, but he still gets one done. That's literally meant to stop him doing that, and he still gets one from around the edge. The flash is good, but the backside, it wasn't checked for a second, but Doma still walks away with one and info. That's pretty huge at this point. They haven't committed to the site, though.
Yeah, we've actually seen the Seekers thrown out, so that will at least gain a little bit of extra info. So will the Tiger as it stuns up Magnum, and Evolva's got another one to add to his tally. A spray down of 4 now, leaving just Mystic alive, and sure it will be stolen away by Nuki, but what is going on? What has happened in the G2 camp that just like one map, it's like, go on, Mixwell, this one's yours. The next map, Evolva, just takes over complete control. Like, just look at the rest of the server. The next highest is Doma on 15.
And let's look even past the kills. Let's look at the money yet again. Fnatic, they're going to get a buy up, but it's not a very comfortable one. Now, with the Blade Storm, they can afford to have a weapon dropped over by Durka potentially, although it looks like they're still going to play with the majority Spectres, or at least 2 Spectres and 2 Phantoms. Not the best by any means. And to be fighting for essentially double digits, right? Because if they lose this, they're eco, and then G2 hit that 10-8 scoreline. This is not where you want to be, Tom. Pressure is on, and Fnatic haven't felt this kind of pressure in EU for a long time. Like, there was that one hiccup versus Liquid, and with the exception of that, I don't recall an EU team challenging them like this since FPX a long time ago.
Since it was a different team, basically. Durka, we know what this man can do, but he's just getting denied by all of that Killjoy utility. Forced to fall back, but is that just bait? I don't know if they actually spotted Doma there. The Tiger goes through. The defender Killjoy ult, but so does Doma. He's going to push through the edge and actually wins that battle versus Coldamenta. One comes up for free, and now Avova being a little bit sneaky. Nuki though, he gets 2!
That's huge. That's the spike drop. They're just rotating in to hold this position. Nuki, he even wants to go in there. There was a player detained close, but he doesn't jump through the garage, not taking absolutely any risks at this point. Just waiting for them to come to him, and although he'll fall in the end, he's put his team in a damn good position to win this. A 3K from Nuki, and a 1 versus 2 Magnum though. He's up against an operator. Look how low Kellogg's is. That wallbang very nearly takes him out. And with the spike retrieve, he's going to the site. 10 seconds left. The plant will be hard to come by. But if he can tuck it away, he might just get it. And indeed he will. Kellogg's on 10 health, very conscious of over-peeking into any sort of angle. Even a wallbang will take him down. Look at the patience. While he waits and hopes that Magnum over-peaks, Magnum's got himself tucked away all the way down on C long. He'll wait for the sound cue and swing, and it seems next to impossible that he loses this. Kellogg's will have to be so quick in hitting this shot. He knows now that player is on long, and he's actually going to try and defuse it with such low HP? No way. Another cloudburst down, and he's... That was so close! On 10 health? If he had 50, he would have won it.
I don't know where they found this guy from, but the confidence to go for that. Absolute madness. So the fact that that was actually close at all, surprising to say the least. And as said in the last map, I've really enjoyed this from G2. Happy to take the timeouts when, realistically, it's not like it's out of their control. It's not like these rounds have just been slipping away. They just feel like, okay, we need a moment to adapt. We need to take a second to put ourselves back in the driver's seat again.
I think I've seen G2 as a brand, let's say, go months without calling a timeout back in the good old days. So the fact that we're seeing them so proactively definitely makes me happy. And they're doing a lot of things that I feel like a lot of teams do wrong, or don't do properly. Timeouts have been solid. Their buys have been very good. They have slow rounds. They're selling a lot of fakes. Bind was chaotic to play against, I can imagine, and I hope Sue maybe does an interview with Boaster afterwards, regardless of the conclusion here, because I'd love to hear from Fnatic's perspective how it is playing against this team, because from my perspective at least, it looks very difficult. This is very surprising for such a short period of time, because they really haven't had that long to prepare, and yet they look like they've been together a long time.
政治が C ロング C サイトオーメンがロング A ロング1人
Already, we're going to see what looks like an almost bare bones eco coming out from G2. Coldamenta, I think, had absolutely nothing there, just going for the ultimate orb a little bit early, trying to earn those seats. This is a chance to not only get themselves a second round ahead, more importantly, earn some ult orb and get Fnatic for economy. You know what? They're doing just that.
Oh, yes, they are. When you're G2, you don't expect literally not even one kill in a round like this. You've got classics. You're ludicrous. You think you're getting away with something. It's important here that Magnum is staying so close to his tripwire, because when you're playing against a Jet and an Omen, they can obviously get by those with their Shadow Step, with their updraft, and you want to be able to hear the sound cue. So Magnum sticking close means that that flank is secured, as secure as can be. And it's a mistake that I think you'll see in like matchmaking and even some teams where they will kind of forget that some people can. They won't forget. They know that they can go past them, but in the moment they don't think of it so proactively.
Question here is Avova looking to actually hold on to this Spectre? I would assume no. So it's just going to try and be some extra pieces of damage, but they get absolutely nothing. A perfect anti-eco from Fnatic. Conversion round to give them an extra into the lead. So it's just
give it so proactively.
Question here is Avova looking to actually hold on to this Spectre? I would assume no. So
think of it so proactively.
Question here is Avova looking to actually hold on to this Spectre? I would assume no. So it's just going to try and be
actively.
absolutely nothing. A perfect anti-eco from Fnatic. Conversion round to give them an extra into the lead. And we need to see the response. There was a save for a reason. That's because G2 wanted to make sure they had everything here. Although, I will say, there's still a piece or two missing. No shields available for Kellogg's going into this one. They do have a couple of ults, one being the res, which we know how much impact that can have. But at 10-8, Fnatic, every single member currently built up outside this A site. Are we about to see a pace change?
It looks like we are. They're barreling in here. Mixwell under pressure, caught falling back. And it looks like the response from G2 is instantly to fight for short. They're grouped up as two, but they lose the first. And Coldamenta manages to trade it out. He takes Magnum, destroys the ult of Phoenix, then destroys Phoenix, and this is now doable for G2. They have a flank on Sage. Sage needs to survive here to get the res in, but it doesn't look like she will. Boaster is waiting for it this whole time. No, Sage has managed to sneak down onto short. How has this happened? Nuke is there, getting the kill, walling up, and popping a res. It's a 2v1. Boaster's behind, but Nuke is suspected at this point, imagining a player will have fallen. Oh, Mixwell. Oh, Mixwell. Oh, it was almost an NA play there. And now you're in trouble, Boaster. There's the first. A fight versus Nuke, not an easy 1v1 to win by any stretch of the imagination. And Nuke shows you exactly why. A gorgeous round from Nuke on that flank. And 10-9 we go. G2 are not giving up yet. They're still in the fight.
Yeah, this is not a man I necessarily thought I'd expect to see on a Sage, especially with him being one of the kings of the duelists when it came to at least the previous roster he was on. I have to say this round as well was such a mess in terms of the battles we saw. One of them was Durka hiding in the smoke, catching a Bova while shadow stepping, dashes out into an operator that was hiding in the corner the whole time. Like, must have been confusing for both teams, but for G2, the most important thing is coming out on top. Again, we see the power of the paranoia, denying them the early space. And we're going to actually get Hunter's Fury to try and kill him off. It's not happened, though.
It's not work this time around, and so now you kind of stall out a little bit. You want the opening, at least the damage is connected, but at this point G2 have rotated pretty heavily. There's 4 players either on or very close to C. I think Fnatic realized that they've missed a window in getting in, but that right there is an opportunity. Kellogg's taken down, the Squid's on their way, and Boaster can't really do much to destroy them, so they get the information of the closest. Whoa, that was a running headshot! He actually connected it onto Coldamenta, who is now super low on HP. That was massive. He got healed up by Sage, but that, I mean, if that's a Vandal, he's getting the kill there. Although, running and gunning with a Vandal ain't quite as easy as with a Phantom.
Yeah, the problem is slightly weaker weaponry for Mixwell, and that headshot doesn't actually garner a kill. It leaves them into a 4 versus 3. Fnatic in the driver's seat once again. After plants available, but Abova, he's already picked off one, and as they peek, the flash will blind another kill. It leaves them into a 4 versus 3. Fnatic in the driver's seat once again. After plants available, but Abova, he's already picked off one, and as they peek, the flash will blind another. Still, it's left all onto Nuki. We know what he could do in these scenarios, but he can't close out Durka this time. Fnatic edge ever closer, just 2 rounds away from taking us to that third and final map, which I believe will be Icebox. And you know what? With the current finances available for G2, I'd be surprised if they don't.
Let's keep an eye on it, see where they decide to take this one. At 11-9 down, your options are pretty limited. Yeah, just going for a couple of pistols. They're fighting for OT. 3 consecutive rounds is definitely doable. But not very oh my god, Kellogg.
What just happened?
They recover that fumble, but I don't, how did he hit 2 shots that quickly? Oh no! Oh no! In the corner, Mixwell's got 2! It's all down to Mystic! Shock Dart is good for damage, but not a kill. Another on its way, but I think it will meet the same fate. In fact, completely avoided. Plenty of time on the clock, but Mystic doesn't know where this other player is. And indeed, Evolva's tucked in, watching for the push-up. The second he gets contact, that's when Mixwell swings. But Mystic realizes something's up. That player isn't just hiding in the corner for no reason. He's on his way to second mid to see what's going on. Evolva's ready, though. Flicking over just in time. And 10 on the board in the most unlikely of rounds. Again, how? Like, great positioning from Mixwell. Good positioning from Evolva. What was that from Kellogg's? How did he hit those shots, Tom?
I feel like that's one that I could probably see the replay multiple times, and I still don't think I'll understand ever what he did. But yeah, a ridiculous round to pull off. Again, apologies to Fnatic. I was like, yeah, driver's seat. Never mind, cast the curse. I'm starting to believe that it exists, but... Oh my.
At Tom is on Twitter. Go and give out to him. He's the one that cursed you, not me. I didn't do the curse. People tagging me in chat saying cast the curse. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't open my mouth. Tom is. Doma rushing in here. Oh, he's been spotted, but Doma's seen him too. And with the ult, you're happy to take that fight, even though you know you'll get traded, sort of. The ult is taken down, but the man advantage remains for a moment. Kellogg's has spidey senses on that one. I don't even think he expected him to be there, more so just very quick reaction.
Oh, nonetheless, it ends in a 4 versus 4 scenario. Lockdown available if a retake were to ensue, but again, Magnum, he's just so good at finding space. It seems like there's a rotation coming back in, and the cage will definitely give that information over to G2 that there's at least somebody here. 40 seconds left, and they're not necessarily committed. He'll be communicating that, okay, there's nobody really rotating in just yet, but you can see Nuki starting to prod and poke as Kellogg starts to push down mid. He's going to walk straight into Durka. A freebie as such, but the trades have come in elsewhere, leaving this B site open for Fnatic to get the plant.
Oh, or so you would think. Mixwell quickly pouncing onto Durka. And Navova's on the flank. He's moving around. This plant isn't going to be for him, though. He can't deny it, but he can get pretty close to them and catch Mystic afterwards, potentially. Mystic wisely going into the corner. Navova's just going to wait for Nuke. Oh, he jumped. I don't think he meant to jump, but he did. And Mystic's heard it. Mystic knows that Evolva's here. I'm not quite sure why he did that. And now on the way through, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Nuke wants to try and help this one out, but Evolva wins the fight anyway. Smoke's going to go down, and Doma on the way gets spotted by Nuke. It's 11-11 on the second map, with G2 pretty much positioned to take the lead at this point. And Tom, I'm processing it as much as I'm saying it. Fnatic might be in the lower bracket at this stage. What's going on?
Let's be real. Let's be real at this point. Okay, yeah, Fnatic in terms of their stature, it would be more surprising. But we've already said it once. If you're in the other team in the lower bracket, who the hell would you even want to face at this point? I don't want to face either of these teams. Well, what's the point? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, you've got so many star players. You've got people putting in unbelievable performances, and not even necessarily on the agents you'd expect. Like, we've got an Omen top fragging in this game and a Viper in the last. Okay, yeah, Viper fanboy Mitch, man, we don't free get. But no, realistically, like, it's not necessarily the man you go to. I don't know what to expect from G2. So if they were to go into that lower bracket, I'd be terrified if I'm one of the other teams.
Oh, definitely. Look at this position from G2. They're playing full retake on A because they have lockdown to play with. They also have a res. So, I mean, retaking A is perfect. And they're going to get a Cosmic Divide out of it. Now, they know at this point, you're not really looking to contest the site. I would be very surprised if Nuke faces from... I suppose you can hold it. But when you're up against a Phoenix, holding a Cosmic Divide is suicide. Half of the time! Durka just goes running into that. He's going to have 30 HP! Just running at it with a classic now! Nuke takes him down! That's the advantage they want! And the Killjoy ultimate is going to push everybody else back. Big advantage to play with for G2 now. But Fnatic, they're on their way to C. And it looks like G2 are aware of that.
Yeah, the way that round was looking, you'd almost expect there to have been a plan. It looked like a retake, but it turns out Well, they were retaking against nothing. They've held onto the site, but the realization has come in that, okay, they're now going to plant on the other side, and well, they don't have that lockdown anymore. They can't force them back. Instead, they'll go pushing through. Coldamenta, he's already going to manage one, but the pistol of Boaster, he's doing so much work with this frenzy. He's even going back for more, and he's going to get his third kill of the round. The dink onto Nuki gives a good opportunity. Now the res is about to be used, but Mystic catches the timing, and now it's left into the 1 versus 1. Mixwell is going to use the turret, but it's actually been dodged, just about avoided, and Mixwell will hold on. A thrifty round, if anything, coming out from Fnatic. The pistols doing the majority of the work, and now they get their 12th. Oh, my throat's going to be so screwed tomorrow, Mitch. I'm done.
We have another series after this, Tom. We got a map 3 here. I think
that is true.
We're going to need some sort of medical grade tea. So that round, another one that we could very easily go back on and spend another 10 minutes talking about. But the key points for me, the A side, Fnatic go on the side, they fake plant once, then they send Durka through the Cosmic Divide into heaven with the Blade Storm. Obviously, they want the kills. What they really want, though, because the plant was cancelled, I believe, before the lockdown came into effect. They wanted that lockdown to be used. They were beckoning them in. As soon as it is popped, the rotation is on the way from Fnatic, who clearly already had the plan waiting for them. And yet, Boaster's Frenzy, it not only got 2 kills, but it damaged, I think, Avova down to like 10 HP.
He got 3 kills.
3 kills and the damage. It's insane.
Yeah. It's a nuts round from Boaster. As I said before, he's not just the brain, he's got the brawn. Got the dance moves, but that's a completely different thing. That doesn't really affect too much of the gameplay. 12 to 11. I almost think that this map deserves an overtime. I'm almost beckoning it in, even though it will completely wreck me. I don't think I mind at this point. A third map also possible with Fnatic down 1 and Icebox being the decider if we get there. Once again, they heard the turret. It's been spotted out already. Durka looking to try and make his move, get that entry. We know he can find normally, but Nuki is already going to take him down.
The plan to come in. Man, disadvantage the res, the Seekers, the Blade Storm. So much to work with for G2, and it's all going to be used here. Can't take it with you into overtime. The run it back is what concerns me the most. Using it at this point is very risky. They don't have enough map control to really do so, and now they've popped it. Magnum needs to hold on to control, or else they're going to be in trouble, because as he comes back through, Stelos is just going to take it down. But what is that? What? Magnum manages to clock himself at 3.
さて、今夜私がいただくのは深夜の生ハムのサラダです。どうも、稲荷和樹です。
ちょっとな。
稲荷和樹です。
違うんだよな。
お気に。
稲荷和樹です。だから。
さすがや。
3K, it won't be enough, but that was with a Spectre up close, and they're all peeking him. That was insane. If he had an actual rifle, that was a Phantom, I think he wins it.
Who knows? Who knows? But either way, Mitch, we've ended up in overtime. We've got there in the end. This map is going the distance. Again, going into today, we looked at Fnatic as the favorites in this matchup. And G2 are taking them all the way. Now it comes down to us, the Stones. And as said, if Fnatic lose this map, they head into the lower bracket. Now, sure, chances are, I think from what we've seen, either team will still make it to the event. But we know how important seeding can be. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. We also know that the competition's not going to get easier for either of these two teams, but in the here and now, we're looking at the buys, and Durka, going for that operator.
Not a surprise, really. The operator in his hands is a dangerous thing, but in overtime it comes with its risks. He can afford to get himself some cloud bursts at least, but not able to go for the armor alongside it. There's the shot. Still has dash online, and he's missed his dash. 1 HP on the way back to site, but he's able to post up. His elbow spotted as he moves back to long. They know exactly where he is. The updraft from Kellogg's, the dash back just about keeps him alive. Durka's still good for another, and with Mystic answering up, it looks like this round is going to Fnatic. A 1-round advantage and one more needed to take us to Ice icebox.
ダークがよかった。俺も使うから、いや、でも抜かれて
It's
死
like
ぬ
the
んだ
fact
よ
he gets
な。
another kill must be so infuriating for whoever hit him. Coldamenta, well, I'm sure he's just made Mitch a very happy man. That's something we haven't really seen too far. And actually, we're going to get another tactical timeout. This time, it's going to be for the attackers, I believe. That will be Fnatic. So clearly feeling that, okay, get this round. Obviously, we moment to unable to.
By a threat, but also say that on the attack side, G2 have been very good when it came to the buy rounds. And the fact that they've now lost that puts them in a bit of a shaky spot, albeit their defense has been solid as well. When you look at the end of the half, in the last 6 rounds, they won 4 of them. And the ones that Fnatic were winning were where they had pistols somehow. So, or weaker rounds at least. This is a... You always had the conversation about Haven being kind of a 50-50 map in terms of attack defense, but in this series, I think it is insanely 50-50. Coldman is playing this on the A side.
Yeah. I thought he'd be garage, right? Double doors, nice little spam. We've seen that done since the beginning of time. What's the plan here, Coldament? And I'm not going to doubt him. I'm definitely not. I'm just curious what he's going to be doing in this round. Now, we've seen the wall expended. At least the majority of it will be destroyed. Utility placed for Mixwell into that B site as well. A clinical round, of course. As said, a victory here can be enough to take Fnatic to that 3rd and final map. Another safe haven for them in the form of Icebox, one they've been playing pretty much since it was released, an early adapter to that when they were in Summon. Kellogg's a good spot, though, and the man alongside him. Well, we saw what he did in the first round.
Oh, well, you're seeing what he does in the start of this round as well. Coldamenta even gets that kill with the Odin. He's playing under heaven, long-range dueling with an Odin. What is going on? This is not how you play Valorant. Kellogg's has got another Fnatic are on it. Look at this! He's just taking duels with it! What? Out he goes with the wolf, waiting for his team as they swing to get the kills. He won that duel because I saw him on the map and I'm thinking this like, what am I missing? What am I missing here? And it's like, no, he's just stood there chilling, crouched with an Odin like, yeah, screw your Vandal. Screw your Phantom. I'm bringing a new gun to the debate.
You know what? It's only not meta until he makes it the meta. So there you go.
There you go.
Coldamenta, he's developing new things on his own. He's calling a good game. He's going to show you how the Odin's up. Well, not in this round, at least. Attack. If he was doing that on the attack, I would think he's gone mad. But you know what? On the defense, I can see how it works. Now, Durka, we saw what he did in the previous round. He's going to go for this aggressive play. In fact, it is identical. Exactly the same spot. This time, G2 are having none of it. Dark cover placed on his head.
Got flash over at the start to get them out too, but he just goes through it. Why? How does he get away with that? It's ridiculous. The fact that he has just gotten a kill by walking through. They literally planned to deal with that operator, and they didn't think that Durka was the absolute madman that he is. The man advantage sits with Fnatic, and G2 are left scrambling. A control is no longer an option, I think it's fair to say. And as they come out onto this site, the camera will spot them just about the tips of their head. It's too late, you would think, but Magnum still gets away with a kill. Here comes Kellogg's to finish him off, but Magnum has none of it. And now it leaves Nukier all alone, desperately trying to recover a 1v4. His chances are the next to none. Oh, he walled himself in. Fantastic. And the shock dart to finish him. That was... Nukier wants to forget the end of that game, that's for sure.
If I can't see them, they can't see me. If I can't see them, they can't see me. Just lock himself in the corner. He's created a bunker.
This is my safe space.
Yeah, please don't enter my safe space. I do not want to be contacted right now. He's done it again, by the way. Odin's back out. This is going to be the A side defense for now. I don't know. I respect it. You got to be bold to break the norm. Other than that, everything else fairly standard. An odd Vandal in there in the mix. Nuki not bending to the trends, that's for sure. But this is the man we're watching. He's been making plays over the last few rounds. Their last attack was a rundown mid. What's going to be the play for Durka this time?
Oh, this time they're going to be focusing on Nuki after breaking that wall. A little bit of a tickle up going in the early round, and he's out of there. I'll say for G2, they've got a lot of control on A. The surprising thing being, it's the Odin that's in the corner on A long. He's actually peeking A long with an Odin. I don't know why. Okay. Peeking C long, and he's gone. Out of here. Dealt with very quickly. Fnatic now have a bit of like, what is this? I guess back in the day, people used to never play Jet. They used to play Raze with the operators. So maybe this is like, someday we'll be like, I remember we used to buy Phantoms and Vandals, but now it's all about the Odin.
Risk taken by Kellogg's, trying to peek through the blaze to find out what's on the other side. I'm also wary the position of Magna. He's being a bit sneaky through the C side. With players rotating, he could be the bane of their lives once again. Mixwell, he's just going to allow that. Okay, you know I'm here, but what are you going to do about it? How are you going to clear me off? And Avova again, he's reading the situation correctly. Not allowing for that swing, but he's going to be pressured. Even pre-fires onto Boaster. The instant headshot, and the time ticks away. Avova is having a phenomenal map as he pulls off almost a solo site defense to start. 3 kills, 14-14. It keeps on rolling.
That puts him above 30 kills, or on 30 on the nose. 14-14, and it wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for Avova's performance so far. He has had such an insane game coming off the back of Mixwell's energy over on Bind. This overtime, it's just not going anywhere. We've got at least 2 more rounds. And taking a look at the defense for Fnatic so far, there's been a lot of comfort for them. They've been finding a lot of success here. It feels like it's the first team to break that defense is going to be walking away with it. I mean, a lot of it is just being Durka. And again, he's going to be pushing A, but this time it's through short where he's posted up. For the looks of things, though, G2 want absolutely nothing to do with the A side. In fact, they're already planting on B.
Yeah, this is the same execution we've seen from them a multitude of times, but there's so much utility. This is how they countered it before. Boaster putting out the stun, holding them back. And they've killed off the planter. Now, Coldamenta, I said he'd be mad to pull this out on the attack, but he's looking to try and spam through those smokes. This is the plan all along. Deny them getting that defusal.
Tom, he dashed into the drone. He's actually died because of a drone, essentially. Anyways, we'll talk about it after. It's a 3v3, and the Odin, here it comes! Double kill from Coldamenta! And Mystic Soul alone with 5 HP. Can it be the 3k for the Odin? It doesn't really matter, because it is the round. G2 have claimed the attacking side, even despite a bit of an awkward opening, having given away. Now listen, so this is, Kellogg's went on site, obviously knowing they're going to have like a molly for me, or they're going to have shock darts or something, and the idea is I'll plant and I'll dash off site. And I was wondering why he stopped, because he dashed and it just froze, and I watched it back on the stream, and I'm 90% certain he got caught on the drone, which is just ridiculous. What a way to die. Oh, the Odin.
Oh my god.
Let's go. Coldamenta. I said I loved them because of the battalion days, but now I've got more than one reason.
I said I'd call him a man if he did it on the attack. Well, he did, and he made it work with a very well set plan. And now they have the chance to finish this. Mixwell, he's gonna peek through, and that could be it. A quick double to open up this round. He's been a bit quieter on this map, that's for sure. But those 2 kills could make the difference. He will eventually be traded out, though. Bolster has found one back in response. The heals will come through for Kellogg to give him a little bit extra in this fight. After plant looking inevitable, but they're playing patient. They're waiting. The spike yet to go down.
And here comes that big green gun. Not quite in the Counter-Strike meaning, but instead it's the Odin. He's not shooting toy bullets, though. The flash about to come around the corner. His team primed to rush out onto the site. The shock darts to delay them. And here we go! Coldamenta taken down, but Kellogg's answers back. Mystic trying to hold on to control. We'll get another. Now dancing around the back of the site, but Nukia is too quick. That is it. 16-14 with the defuse. G2 are absolutely dominating Fnatic. 2-0 in this series. They're back for their crown.
Oh My God, we spoke about them as the Titan, the almost initial team that came out of the woodwork when it started in Valorant, building their team just after the beta and dominating since the get-go. Then they disappeared. But it seems like with their new look roster, with their new super team, they're back. And as I said, winning this game in a 2-0 fashion, that is the biggest statement you can make on the VCT stage.
Sure, it was overtime here on Haven, but on Bind, they've had the most dominant victory versus Fnatic that anyone has seen. As Sentinels were 16-14, they beat Fnatic in the grand finals. Now, and that was the only other time that Fnatic had lost Bind. They have achieved history by just winning that map and now knocking Fnatic to the lower bracket. I don't feel like this is going to be a death sentence for the Fnatic team, but this is a revitalization of the G2 roster. We went through months and months and months of back-to-back tournaments. Every single time we asked the question, who will come second place? Because we knew in number one it would be G2. That time feels like a lifetime ago. But now the Kings are back. The Kings of old have returned. And it looks like they're a lot better than they were before, because the level of play out of them, this wasn't anything like the old, I would say, more Puggy style team, the chaotic G2 of old that bounced well off each other. This was a well-oiled machine that has most definitely caught Fnatic off guard. And now the question is, how far can they go?
Yeah, well, they've already made it to the main event. They will be playing in a week or so coming up. So I'm excited to see that one come through, because they are definitely a team we want to be seeing within the VCT, especially with how short an amount of time they've had. We've got Mixwell back performing to an exceptional level. Of Vova as well. Like, dear Lord, the fact that this man is a